Hey, there we go. Is the desktop audio working? Yeah, we're recording right now. But it can all get edited. Like, I'm not worried about it. My phone just went bananas.
Supposed to show up over there?
Well, the thing that you're thinking is supposed to show up over there is what's in front of us. Oh. Hey.
What?
Nick said hey.
Oh, hi.
My phone is going bananas. Oh, it's us. Us is why our phone. Okay. Don't worry about me. So, season 2 is going to be a little different. A lot of different. I don't know if you can see, but you can see. There's the difference.
The ring light?
The ring light is bananas, but
not good for spectacles, but
yeah, but if we didn't have it on, everything is this really weird orange.
The lighting in here is really bad.
It's not great. It's one of the things we hope to work on. We haven't technically started the show yet because a lot of this is gonna get edited, edit and post.
This chair is very squeaky.
It's like, who was it? Gilda Radner, when she's doing the Rosanna Dana scooching around the floor. Oh, thank you. He likes the studio. What's kind of funny is that I didn't think we'd be able to see the chat as much as we do.
I'm glad it's big.
I made it pretty. I made it pretty big.
So I was like, I don't know.
Well, when I was on hashtag 989 podcasts. When I was on the Matty Ice and Marky Mark podcast 3 weeks ago now. Their monitors are 6 feet away.
Yeah, so what is their setup? How many do they have?
They have 3 monitors. And I don't know what kind of kit. Matt, if you ever see this, we got to talk about cameras, bro. But they have 3 monitors, and what he does is, instead of doing it that way, he puts the chat by itself on one monitor and then uses the magnifier and magnifies it. So you can see it from where you sit. And it's a really good idea.
It's the chat for all the different.
Yep, they actually.
How do you tell which one is which?
I thought we'd be able to see it. I thought we'd be able to see it somewhere. They'll have little logos next to each other, they'll have a little Facebook logo or what have you. I hope, yeah, I hope we can see all our chat somewhere. I don't know where chat is. Today's episode is going to be a bit of a learning experience, but that's okay.
And this month has not gone the way we wanted it to. We wanted to practice and stuff like that, but it's just been very hectic.
Oh, there it is. I found it. Yeah.
And that is just for...
That would just be Twitch.
Okay.
There. There's the chat. I fixed it. So today's going to be a bit of a... Yeah, we can see you. What did you just do? How did you do that? Did you switch platforms? All right. Don't start messing with me here, because I'm trying to figure this out.
I'm very confused.
Me too, because
that is Twitch too?
He's going between Twitch. Oh my god, don't do that. He's hopping back and forth between Twitch and Facebook.
Oh, so this is Facebook?
No, there's his Twitch name.
But that says...
That's all Twitch. But if somebody talks to us on Facebook... Oh. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. We'll figure it out. Alright. Anyway, hopefully that works better than with the way we had it. Okay. He's going back and forth between Twitch. See, now it's got a little Twitch logo next to it. I only had the Twitch chat up. So now he's going back and forth between Twitch and YouTube. I'm glad you did that, because if not, we'd have been fucked at a certain point. That would have been awful. People just so many, hey, you didn't answer us when we were talking to you. And it's like, I didn't know you were talking to me, bro.
Well.
Got it now. I fixed it. Okay. So, if you haven't listened to our show on YouTube before, originally it was supposed to be more of a podcast, and we couldn't figure that shit out. But now we have this, and it's going to take a while to get this episode out onto things like Spotify and things like that. But I'm going to edit it down. I'm going to learn how to edit down. I'm going to learn how to play with...
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. Facebook test too. I'm going to edit it down. Try to turn it into more of an audio podcast for things like Spotify and iTunes. I have no idea how to use iTunes, but that eventually I'll figure it out. If you don't know us, we're the hosts of the show. My name is Matt Klaus.
I'm Tara. Tara Caustic.
I was about to say, are we doing a share thing
yeah.
now? Just a omnonym?
just Tara.
Just Tara.
No, it's kind of like...
Just Tara.
There's so much... I can't just look in one spot.
Yeah, it's all new. Okay, there we...
So I'm kind of...
See? There.
Oh, okay. Oh!
You see how...
Yeah,
okay.
the little symbols.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there's a dog outside.
Yeah. One of the things about our studio, I don't know if you can see our fancy new studio. There's movies all over the place. There's movie references right here.
Mm-hmm. And on my shirt.
And on our shirt, and right behind it, speaking of, right there. And this will always be changing. We'll always be playing with it. We'll always be finding a way to make it fresh and new and cool. Also, we'll always be trying to improve. So, the more people you can get to watch, the more we'll be able to improve. Because maybe someday we'll be able to trick somebody into subscribing.
Mm.
This is our first try at a new show just like this. We were originally inspired to do a podcast by We Hate Movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were definitely inspired by our cohorts in the 989 podcast, Matt and Mark, to do a streaming show. And then just work on it from there. So...
When's the last time we did an episode?
It's been 2 years. It's been over 2 years since we've done an episode.
It was before the whole pandemic.
It was just before it all. It would have been November of 2018.
Yeah, like
was the
right
last time.
after... No, 2019, like right after Hell's Half Mile.
Yep, November of 2019 would have been our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
But... we're back. This is better. I kind of like this better. I know you don't like cameras. She doesn't like cameras. But
I don't like being on camera. I like cameras and like being behind them, but being... Although, I don't know, it's like a Zoom kind of world now. I use Zoom a lot with my work, so I'm getting a little more used to it.
Yeah.
But...
Anyway, this is season 2. 2 years removed. Episode 1, the Halloween special, spectacular. Yay! I need a soundboard like Matt.
Like it's like
he has a full soundboard.
Yeah, we're like the musical artist that waits like 6 years between each album. Like that's us. We just
fuck
wait.
you, Kendrick.
Like
asshole. Put out a new album, dick. We've got...
Yeah, a lot has happened.
Oh, a lot's going on. If you just listened to our show before, which I doubt very many people have listened to every episode and are now watching us, or catching up with us now, unless you're a Themes to Be Seen stan and have been, we unfortunately lost our third cast member 2 years ago, our friend Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
And since then we've picked up a new friend, and his name is Dyson, and he's a good boy, and you'll eventually see him. He'll be right here at some point, and he'll come right in and say hi. He's
in the other room watching Psycho on TCM. He had a big day. We went for lots of walks. He made a new German Shepherd puppy friend. We took him trick-or-treating. And yeah, it was a big day.
Yeah, he had a big day. So,
and last night we had a Halloween get-together.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, he had a busy weekend. He's tired.
Yep. So, what we're going to do is... Today is going to be a little different, but from now on our episodes are going to be way different because most of you are probably used to us taking one movie and analyzing it really deep for 2 hours at a time and then making 3 episodes out of it. But at a certain point we realized that is not sustainable whatsoever. Like in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So, we decided, let's split it up into segments and do some other fun things while also giving an analysis, only try to stretch it out over half a season. So we'll only be doing an analysis of 2 movies this season. We'll do a couple of specials, holiday specials, and our new segments will be Seen Again, which is where we take a film that one or the other of us hasn't seen since we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll reanalyze. Is it worth rewatching? Is it as good as we remember? Is it not?
We've done that quite a bit lately, and we just decided, hey, this would be a fun thing to do.
It would be a fun thing to do on the show.
Catching up on a lot of childhood favorites.
Mm-hmm. And the other one, we have Themes to be Heard, which we appreciate a lost art called the actual music video. The music video hit this like peak of artistry at a certain point, and it's not where it was anymore. They were small movies. There were stories being told. There was actual artistic integrity put into it for a really long time. And there are some artists who still do that. There are some directors, some musical artists, but not as much as there used to be. So what we're going to do is do a segment called Themes to be Heard, where we break down music videos that we think are culturally significant and contributed to the art of the music video.
And actually, a lot of big-time movie directors started with making music videos, so we'll kind of analyze, like, the early works of, like, David Fincher.
Who's the other one? The Swedish guy?
The Swedish guy.
Isn't he Swedish? The one that did, like, the Lenny Kravitz videos, and... I know we're doing at least one of his videos.
I'm just drawing a blank.
Where's the notebook? Anyway.
I don't know.
We have the season outlined, trust me. So, there's that. We'll talk about movie news. We might have a couple of special segments every now and then. Think of something fun and just throw it into the show, just for funsies. But other than that, we're this season, over the course of the actual season, we will be analyzing a film made right here in Michigan. And if you love it, you love it. And if you don't, apparently you hate it, because we're doing It Follows. People either absolutely adore that film or they hate it to its very core, which actually is really funny because recently I keep up with what the young peoples are talking about.
Of course you do.
I do. I try to stay in touch with the youth, and on the TikTok app.
The TikTok?
Yeah, I'm playing a bit here. Work with me. Anyway, on TikTok right now, there's this game. There's this, hypothetical situation that young people have been talking about, where if you are immortal, and there's a snail that's immortal, and it's following you, and you can stay immortal and rich forever, as long as the snail never touches you, because as soon as the snail touches you, you die. It's just this hypothetical... Oh, it's the bag. This hypothetical thing they've thought up where, and the snail now has its own page. It's a trend.
Mm-hmm.
Eerily similar to our film that we'll be analyzing.
Mm-hmm.
It Follows was shot in and around the Detroit area.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Minor work in and around the Saginaw area. But mostly the Detroit. When Michiganders say, I don't know if anybody outside of Michigan is ever going to see this, but when Michiganders say Detroit, there's like 7 actual small cities around Detroit that count as Detroit. And those are, I feel like when it says in and around Detroit, it's talking about a bunch of locations in the small towns or the small cities.
Like part of the metro
yeah.
area.
So you have things like Romeo and Taylor and, well, don't go there. But other places, don't go there. But there are small cities. And the second half of the season, you know what? Let's save that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to explain everything.
We don't have to do it all.
We'll save that for the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
What did I do?
No. Today, though, is a Halloween special where we have a couple of fun things planned so that we're not working through guinea pigging, fixing the show while we're trying to work. You gonna help me out here?
I'm sorry, I just kind of blanked out.
Today we'll be doing like just a fun retrospective on Brian De Palma's 1976 film Carrie, which a lot of people think of as a horror. It is one of the saddest films ever made.
Yeah.
It's not as scary. Like, there's a lot of people that remember this film as really scary in a horror movie, and then you look at like the recent remake adaptation and the sequel that horror purists actually don't talk about those. But in the discussion, we have to admit the original Carrie is not a horror film. It's horrifying in a very human way, and not a way that makes you scared.
Well, it hits a certain point in the film where it takes that turn, but overall it's more of like a character study, and it is pretty sad. It's one of those movies where when it does hit that point, like the initial prom scene, you're watching it and you're like, oh wow, like this is going so well, like she's so radiant, and then it hits that point and it's like, can I just watch this movie and have a happy ending for once? Like, you wish it doesn't go the way that it ends up going.
And you can watch it over and over and over, and people who've seen it enough will pause it at the prom scene, like right at the prom scene, and then turn it off, because that's where you want it to be. That's the happy ending, is that moment right there. And but that's not what De Palma does ever. Brian De Palma is I kind of think him as like a prototype to the Coen brothers.
Like how?
In the sense that he gives you these amazing character studies, these amazing stories where there are these just slightly unbelievable things happening, and they never end well. Never does a Coen brothers film end well. You will never watch a De Palma film where you feel comfortable with the ending. What?
Oh, nothing. I'm listening.
Why are you listening? It's your show. They're listening.
I'm just listening to you.
Yeah. So. Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's a little zombie.
Yeah. That's like the default, and I didn't know. I gotta find how to like turn that into something movie related. That might be a Facebook thing. Huh.
I have no idea.
This is all new to us. This is all. So I'm still figuring some of this out, but once we get it all figured out, it'll be better.
But in Carrie, when everything turns, that's when you see like De Palma's typical style come too, because that's when he starts doing more of the split screen. And
you see one really egregious split diopter really early in the classroom scene where Tommy is in the foreground and then Carrie's in the background, and you think he's making fun of her. Like, he's not. But you think he is, because the split diopter gives this feeling of separation that's really cool. He's one of the masters of... Oh, shoot. we've jumped the gun significantly here. Because there was a whole nother segment of the show that we were like, let's do this cool segment of the show. And then we, like, forgot about it. So let's pause here and go and do Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
So, we like to go to resale stores. And a lot of people... Oh, hey,
Hi,
there's
Dyson.
Dyson sighting. Hey, dude. We like to go to resale stores, and a lot of people like to talk down about the advent of the standard definition DVD.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think they are a really cool, necessary piece of media, and there's a lot of movies that you actually probably can't find.
Exactly. Even on streaming services, there's so many movies that we've thought of and we still can't find anywhere, or like they are kind of expensive on streaming, and so there is that perk about actually owning a physical copy of a movie.
You can just watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to try to find the diamonds in the rough. We'll go to resale stores and just dig through trash films, just bad movies. There was one time we were somewhere and there were 14 copies of Lone Survivor.
There were like 17 copies of Saw.
There were 17 copies of the first Saw, which is sad because the first Saw is probably where it should have ended.
Mm-hmm.
Saw 1, done.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect film. It's 3 guys in a room. You had Lee Winnell and James Wan working well.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been perfect. End it. Anyway, that's a rant for a different day. So what we do is we go and we find the good stuff according to our budget as much as possible. There's been times where we've spent $15. There's been times where we've spent $100.
Mm-hmm.
For Halloween, we figured keep it a little small. We got 10.
Yeah. And they're not all scary movies.
No, they're not all scary movies. I don't want to give the impression that these are, oh my god, I realize when there's at a certain spot, the ring light is just right in the middle of my glasses.
Yeah, it's suddenly like out of focus too. I don't know what happened.
I don't either.
Dyson.
Let's see if I can find it.
Dyson, stop.
I don't know. Anyway.
I think it's a little
Now it's better.
now.
All right. See, we're still figuring this out. Fun times. So we got 10 now for this one. And they're not all horror movies. We just call it Halloween because it's a haul. And it's Halloween.
And we did get them at the beginning of the month.
We did, didn't we?
I think.
Was it last month?
No, it was this month.
Cool.
This did feel like a really long month.
Hey!
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you. We will be trying to find different resale stores. If you know somebody who has a resale store, if you yourself have a resale store, let us know. We'll come dig through your trash DVD section and show you the good movies you didn't even know were in there. Today's haul is brought to you by
Media Reload.
Media Reload on Tittabawassee and Saginaw. Shout out to Matty Ice. Our buddy who always hooks us up while we're there. He's a good guy. Go in and see him for fixing any of your stuff. Just make sure it's not covered in cat pee.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll start. I'm going to grab a random one.
Okay.
Whatever it is. If I don't know what it is, you're going to have to help. Oh! Oh. There we go.
In Bruges.
In Bruges. With the elder Gleason. Oh. Brendan Gleason. Colin Farrell. It's a thriller comedy. Oh, yeah, Ray Fiennes, too.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, this is a good movie. We got to watch this.
I haven't seen this since it, first came out.
Yeah.
Huh.
Talk about your all-time sad endings, though. Okay. This film is... great movie. It's good to watch with friends. because it's good to watch with friends who've never seen it, because they'll get all the jokes. It is very funny. The script is extremely intelligent. Brendan Gleeson plays like a great grumpy guy. It's about two hitmen who have a contract in Bruges. It's a city. When I was younger and I watched it, I was unaware that Bruges was a place.
Yeah, and I always pronounced it wrong. I was like, oh, in Bruges.
In Bruges, yes. So, In Bruges. Who's this directed by?
I am not sure.
Let me find it. Oh.
It should be that last name.
Written and directed by Martin McDonagh. So, an Irish director.
Yeah, that's very familiar. I can't think of what else he's done.
Let's check the good old IMDb Tribune.
Yeah. And in the meantime,
then you do one.
Oh, I found Kiss of the Vampire. This is a classic Hammer horror movie. When was this made? It was renewed in 1990, but... Oh, it's from 1962.
Ooh.
I've never seen this before, but...
That's an old Hammer. That's beginning...
Remember DVDs like this, where you had to, like, clasp it?
Yeah.
And then it was, like...
I forget what those are.
There's like one of the earliest
That's one of the earliest forms of DVD, yeah. Okay. The filmography of Martin McDonagh, not to talk over you. Most recently... 3 Billboards Over Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a fucking powerhouse movie that we rented, and then I watched alone.
I watched it.
We didn't watch it together. Because I remember watching it alone, and I was like, she's going to be so pissed at me that I have to take this back tomorrow. Because it was when we had actual physical movie stores that we got these racks from. And... we had actual physical movie stores, and we rented it. It was a new release.
Those were fun days.
Oh,
like Friday nights.
We would just walk down.
I would come into town, and then we would go get a movie.
Yeah.
Get a movie like House Shark.
Oh God.
Other bad.
Let's not.
Boneyard Road. What was that movie? That really low budget vampire movie.
Werewolf movie. Yeah. That one werewolf was fucking fabulous.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think it was like
Bone Hill Road.
Oh, yeah.
Proof that not all special effects artists should direct their own films.
Mm-hmm.
7 Psychopaths.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 6-Shooter. The Banshees. And... Oh, he directed his own making of 3 Billboards.
Oh.
But, so he doesn't have a long filmography, but quality.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the filmography of Martin McDonagh. All right, next we have classic. We found a physical copy of Blazing Saddles.
I used to have a copy of it, but
it's totally worth it.
I moved around a lot. I lost a lot of DVDs.
With Blazing Saddles, you get all of the... Oh, that hurts my eyes to look at. We gotta fix the lighting in here. You get all of the Mel Brooks tropes. You get all the Mel Brooks pieces. You get funny voices. You get some off-color humor. You get Mel Brooks himself. Everybody has a character that they put on that's way too over the top, but just believable enough to be in a movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like a spoof movie. It's its own thing. He walked a really fine line with how he directed things.
Oh, a movie like this could not be made today.
Not in any way, shape, or form. Which, by the way, also on the cover of this film, there's an obviously white guy in red face wearing a... on the cover of the DVD, there's an obviously white guy in red face wearing a headdress, and it couldn't happen today. Mm-hmm. But the German lady character and
Madeline Kahn.
Oh, yeah. She was fantastic. We actually just watched. We were watching TCM last night, and Young Frankenstein came on, mm-hmm. and Madeline Kahn is awesome in that too. So, next up.
Let's see. Oh, Bell, Book, and Candle.
Bell, Book, and Candle.
I've never actually seen this, but I like anything that has to do with witches. And it has Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. They were in Hitchcock's Vertigo together.
Is he late? Jimmy? Does the cover say? No, it says James.
Jimmy Stewart, James Stewart.
It's not the same.
Well, people know him as Jimmy Stewart.
Who knows him as Jimmy Stewart?
Everybody.
So if you ask somebody who the star of It's a Wonderful Life is, they're going to say Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Moving on.
Wow.
So it is about a witch.
Yeah.
We're doing like a Bewitched thing here. He falls in love with a witch. It's a comedy.
Yeah. Jillian knows that witches can't fall in love, but they can have fun.
Oh, that's dirty.
Especially if their lover belongs to another woman. Oh,
that's
scandalous.
That's a pick of yours too. I don't know anything about this. I'll save that one for you.
Oh, it has Elsa Lanchester in this. She was the bride of Frankenstein.
Oh.
And Jack Lemmon is in it too.
Oh. So it makes me wonder if he's still watching. My dad has subscribed, which is cool. Because in this haul, we have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's a classic. Watched it with him for the first time when I was probably 6 or 7. I mean, the Newman Redford legacy was cemented with this film. It gave one of the classic movie endings, which became a thing that people did over and over and over, was the smash cut to the heroes doing something dangerous and then fade out to credits. So you never see how it ends. You never, like, you can safely assume, but you never actually see it. But because of all the other insane things that they actually get out of in this movie, it's not out of the question that they get out of that final stand. So, you know, it's a great movie. It's a classic. Like, this is something that should be, like, held up as an all-time great. I put 2 other movies down there because you picked them out, and I don't know much about them.
Next, we have Saved.
Whoa. There it is. Okay.
There. I remember when this first came out. So there's, like, a lot of young actors that, well, they were young at the time we were growing up, like Mandy Moore, Jenna Malone, Patrick Fugit from Almost Famous, Macaulay Culkin is in this. This was, what is her name? Ava Amuri. She's Susan Sarandon's daughter. I think this was like one of her first movies, but this is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a really twisted religious movie about a young girl that gets pregnant, and Mandy Moore is this very, very religious, judgmental character, and it's
who's the like the Reese Witherspoon character in Election?
Oh yeah, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a pretty funny movie. I haven't seen it.
And a really good-looking teenage Macaulay Culkin. Like, if you look at the cover of this, and I know it's hard to see anything with our lighting right now, Macaulay Culkin as a teenager looks really good in this. So I'm really interested to see. We haven't watched it yet. I'm interested to see his performance in this. Because shortly after this would have been when he did Party Monster. And I love that.
I'm trying to remember what came
I love that
first. Movie. I don't remember.
Oh, this would have been before Party Monster. He was in his 20s when he did that. Like his mid to late.
He was in his 20s in this, too. Because this was from 2004.
Oh. So, yeah, right around the same time.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. What else do we have down here? Oh no. These are so many pics of yours that I don't know much about.
No,
wow.
I think you picked a few of
I
these.
picked this one. No, I picked this one. In the 90s, if you were born in the 90s, if you lived through the 90s, there was a joke about a movie where a lady yelled, "A dingo ate my baby!"
Most notably, Seinfeld.
Seinfeld and I think Saturday Night Live beat that dog to death too. Like, I think Saturday Night Live really rammed that joke into the ground. A lot of people still don't know where it came from. I'll answer that question right now. A Cry in the Dark, starring Sam Neill and Meryl Streep.
I didn't know this was a thing.
It's actually a courtroom drama kind of thing. It's like a family drama where based on a true story of an Australian family where wild dogs actually killed an infant and the mother was charged with murder.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's have fun watching that. That'll be a fun night watching that, huh? But yep, it's a whole thing. And young Sam Neill, Meryl Streep in a bad wig.
Man, Sam Neill was on fire in the 90s.
Okay, so underrated. And I think it's because a lot of his movies got kind of shoved into the genre.
Well, he was in, like, it just seemed like he just exploded. Like, he was in Jurassic Park, and then he was just...
Well, this is earlier than Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So you have, like, Event Horizon, what's the John Carpenter one? In the Mouth of Madness, Jurassic Park 2, A Cry in the Wild. Like, he just... And you could probably keep going if I wanted to look it up, but that would take more time than we need. I'll save this one.
Oh, Party Monster was 2003, so it was previous year.
So I'll give you this one.
Oh.
Yeah.
It still has the tag on it, but this is a classic. It's Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard! I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's the, well, it's like, what is that thing where, like, people say Luke, I am your father.
The Mandela Effect.
Yeah, this is the one where she's like, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille, but that's not exactly the line. But everyone remembers it being said differently.
It's not Luke, I am your father. It's just I am your father. Mm-hmm. So instead of I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille, do you know what the actual line is?
I think she just says I'm ready for my close-up.
Aha! Is this about DeVille? Is that the name of it?
It's about...
DeVille, not DeMille.
Yeah, DeVille.
Oh.
It's about an aging actress, Norma Desmond, and this young guy that goes and stays with her, and she was like a silent film star, and... Oh,
moving into the talkies?
Yeah, she didn't do well, and she's just kind of... A
little bit of Charlie Chaplin syndrome?
Like, she's... It's been a while since I've seen this, too, but...
Are you looking for your close-up? Hi. All right, next. Here, I'll do this one. Okay.
This was your pick.
This is my pick. Okay, so recently we saw a video explaining the difference between all the iterations. Oh,
Sam Neill wasn't in Jurassic
3. I was thinking of 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Was that the... Oh, I don't even remember.
3's the one where they brought the Tyrannosaurus Rex back to San Diego for some reason.
Like, is the kid missing in there and they have to
find
2. The kid? Oh, no, isn't 2 like the Lost World?
2 is the Lost World. And that is the one you're thinking of, where they have to go back to Ela...
Yeah, you're backwards.
Fuck you. Alright, I'm backwards. So, you're thinking of 3.
Because I think The Lost World is like the first time I ever really remember seeing Vince Vaughn. I think that might have been like one of his first
oh my god!
Big things.
Okay, but like, I want now Vince Vaughn in a movie about dinosaurs. So, Jack, what do you mean we're giant lizards? Okay, anyway, we're watching a documentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part 2 is like the T-Rex in San Diego, and 3 is the kid missing.
Okay. William H. Macy.
Oh, yeah,
William H. Macy
Teo
has
Leone.
William H. Macy has a stash just like this in that movie. We watched a doc. I've been trying to do this for a minute now. Stop it. We watched a short documentary about the difference between all the iterations of Little Women. Mm-hmm. And with the most recent... oh, shit. That's not good. Anyway. With the most recent iteration, made pretty famous by the performance of one of our favorite actresses, Florence Pugh. Mm-hmm. The new one has a huge following in young women.
Yeah.
Like, actual young women now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that following for this iteration of Little Women.
I remember this one being popular.
Do you?
Yeah.
I remember my mom really liking it.
I remember it being nominated for, like, MTV Movie Awards.
Okay, so this is from 2000.
Remember when, like, MTV award shows were, like...
Well, when they fucking mattered. Yeah, when they were relevant at all. Who's this?
Hey there. Lovin' Felissa.
Oh! Hi! Thank you for dropping by the show.
Hi.
We're Themes to Be Seen. Hope you hang around. We talk about movies. So this iteration of... We're talking about the 2000 iteration of Little Women starring Winona Ryder, and I believe in that documentary they said that this one is more about her focusing specifically on herself. What? Focusing specifically on herself and moving and moving her career forward.
Yeah. I've never actually seen this one.
We're going to have to watch through it and take notes.
Christian Bale is in it.
Oh, yeah?
Because the new one is Timothée Chalamet.
Okay, look. I'm not going to do the Chalamet impression today. I'm not going to do the Chalamet impression today. But we'll workshop that and come back around to Chalamet soon. Okay. Last one. Easy one. It's you.
I didn't pick this.
You want me to do it? I can do 2 in a row if you want, but...
This hasn't even ever... Wait,
it's never
it
even
has
been opened. Nope.
Oh, no, it hasn't.
Oh, wow.
Basic Instinct.
So somebody bought a copy of Basic Instinct. Oh, there we go. Somebody bought a copy of Basic Instinct and then just never opened it.
God, they didn't even try to watch that one scene and then...
Who buys a movie like that and then just... Okay.
God, I remember... Because I remember hearing all about this when we were kids, too, because of that scene.
I remember it being on... Okay, so my grandparents on my dad's side had a house way out in the country. And there was always there was always movies playing and there was never anybody watching them. There was always just movies on. I don't know if anybody else was in a home like that, but my grandparents had a house, and then my aunts and uncles and my dad and all my cousins, we were always there, and there were always movies on.
Like it wasn't just like a cable channel?
No, there were VHS tapes going in and out regularly. And there was hardly ever the same one twice. And it just constantly was just going. I think at a certain point there was like an HBO or a Stars thing, but that wasn't until like later. Anyway, I remember that being a movie that was on at some point at my grandma's house. And as an adult, I realize how wrong that is. But yeah, it's not just that scene in particular. Sharon Stone is flawless in that movie as an actress. That's probably the height of Michael Douglas. There's Basic Instinct. There's another movie where he's cheating on.
Oh, Fatal Attraction.
Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction, The Game.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a Still Standing.
Still Standing.
Is it or no? Falling Down.
Oh.
Fuck that up.
Wow, yeah, that was way off.
That was backwards. Still Standing would be a
that
better...
was a TV show.
Was it?
Uh-huh.
Oh. I was just going through turns of phrase until I found the right one. Falling Down. A lot of people don't like that movie. I enjoy it.
I'm trying, because I feel like he came out with two around the same time. There was that, and then there was The Game, and I think I always used to mix them up.
Well, you'd never even seen The Game until recently. We watched it together.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you. We got a new follow.
Aw.
Didn't even realize it. Thank you so much. But yeah, The Game is the one where he has no idea what's going on. You have no idea what's going on until the very end of the movie. And then it ends and you're like, oh, okay.
And then Falling Down is the one where he's just like having a really bad day and he's like...
Okay, but that's the misconception of the movie. There's a lot of people that come in 20 minutes, like your memory kicks in 20 minutes into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to remember, his wife has left him. She took his kid. He's living in a motel. His car's a piece of shit. And then he can't get a job. And on the way to this job interview that he feels like he actually has a chance with, it breaks down. So it's not just one bad day. It's like an accumulation of life just on this guy. And he snaps. And it's great. And like the progression of his madness goes right alongside whatever weapon he has to have in his hand. So he starts with a briefcase. And then he loses the briefcase and he takes his jacket off and now he has a baseball bat.
That's mostly what I remember.
And then he loses the baseball bat and his shirt gets torn and he gets an Uzi. And it just keeps getting worse. And yeah, that's a pretty good one. But yeah, Michael Douglas, hot in the early 90s. He was on fire. Was there like nominations for that?
For that, I'm not sure. Maybe MTV Movie Award.
Oh, I believe it.
I remember when they did like a little skit making fun of it.
I remember when they did the skit making fun of Cruel Intentions. I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah.
What movie? There was a movie though where they made fun of that. Something about their oil can oiling up Sharon Stone's hip before she did that. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it often. And that's Halloween.
Yeah.
So yeah, 10 films worth picking out of the haystack that is not great movies that fill up resale stores. It's possible. You can do it yourself. Go to your local resale store and buy a good movie. Please. Those places are awesome and they need to stay in business because the people that run them are doing what they love. It's a lot like supporting an artist.
Yeah.
Speaking of supporting artists, if you like our conversation so far, like and subscribe. Wherever you may be watching. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all three.
You had a little Jerry Seinfeld in your voice.
Oh, yeah?
There.
I didn't even think about it. Oh, I went from Jerry Seinfeld to James Stewart again. I don't know how I did that.
Jim Jams.
Jim
James.
James Seinfeld.
Jimmy Stewart. Like that's...
All right. Now, back to the topic at hand, the retrospective. We're going to do a fun, just kind of run over of 1976's Carrie. We already did all that jazz. But we're not going to go super in-depth today. We're just going to kind of have some fun talking about it. And then maybe just talk about some current movie stuff that's going on in the movie world. And I got a little visual aid. Hold on. If I can figure out how to use it.
You did it earlier.
There it is. Oh. There. Boom!
Ooh, Piper Laurie. Nancy Allen and William Catt, the greatest American hero, and the former Mrs. De Palma. And there's Brian De Palma.
So, I put those up there as a visual aid so that younger people who may have never seen this Carrie, or maybe you've just never seen this Carrie, maybe you're not even younger, maybe you're our age or older, and you have no idea who we're talking about or what we're talking about, there they are. They're right up there.
And if you have no idea, there's still a few hours left for Halloween, and if you have the Shudder app, it is on Shudder.
It's on Shudder.
Yeah. Or, Carrie... I feel like you could probably find it anywhere. It's a very well-known
but I don't
movie.
think it's as accessible as you might think, because it's really well known. But I feel like if you search to find Carrie, you'd get that remake. Yeah.
That's true. So it's been remade. Well, first in the 90s there was that sequel, The Rage. And then
which is where we get the problem with this movie being considered a horror movie, because it's not a horror movie, but they tried to make the sequel like almost like a slasher, and that's where it went wrong.
And then they tried to make it into like a mini series, and
I don't remember that at all. You say that every time, like ever since we've been getting ready to do this, and I don't remember that whatsoever.
I just remember it starred Angela Bettis, who was the main actress in a movie called May.
Oh, I love May.
Yeah. So they tried to do it with her. I don't really remember much about it. But then, yeah, they tried to remake it with Julianne Moore. And
well, like, it seems like anything Stephen King, they make a movie that's good, and then they're like, you know what? We also need to make a made-for-TV miniseries. And it's not good. The only time that's happened in reverse order was It.
Yeah.
Where both the miniseries and the films are good on their own merits. Neither fantastic, both good enough for what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But with Carrie, you actually prepared for this by reading back through the novel. Do you have some insights on the differences between the two?
So the movie is definitely, it's more straightforward with like those horror aspects. It's kind of like she's going through, you know, a late puberty, and that's when she starts recognizing she has these powers, whereas in the book she's pretty much had them all of her life, because these strange occurrences have happened since she was a baby, and her mom has always like kind of considered her this devil baby, and her mom has carried a knife around her on more than one occasion wanting to kill her. But it's hard because I do really like the movie a lot, but there are a lot of differences where in the movie, like, yeah, it is pretty brutal, but the book, it is like a full-on town massacre. It's not just the students at the prom. Like, she starts, like, fires are going up around town, and like the parents of the students and stuff are getting electrocuted in the street. It's like a full blown like town massacre.
Oh, okay.
But the book, it kind of weaves between stories and like excerpts from Sue Snell, the character that wants, her boyfriend is Tommy, and she wants him to ask her to go to prom. Like, she wrote a book after, or there's studies that were done about telekinesis, and they interview a lot of the people from the town. Like, in the book, Miss Collins ends up surviving. A lot of people do end up surviving But there's just differences like that, like just the way it's told.
And then you also said there's a physical difference between Carrie and the book.
Yeah, so in the book, Carrie's a little more chubbier. It is implied that she is a pretty girl, but just at this stage in her life, like she's resorted to eating for comfort because she's lonely and she has like skin issues and stuff. But that same chemistry with her and Tommy is like implied, whereas the night is going on, he's kind of looking at her a little bit differently. So yeah, it's just the way that it's told is pretty different. But
and you said the Sue Snell, which that's the character played by Nancy Allen. No, who's that?
Amy. Oh, she was married to Steven Spielberg. I can't think of her last name. Amy Irving.
Oh, okay.
Plays Sue. Nancy Allen plays Chris Hargensen. She's the main, like, bully at the school. So yeah, her character, like, she's popular, but she's not very well liked by a lot of people. Like in the book, it implies that she and Sue don't like each other, and her dad is a lawyer, so she uses that a lot. Like, I'm gonna have my dad come after you, kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling. What was
that's kind of the point of the show. Is
and in the book, Norma is not like as much. She's kind of like not a nerd, but like a know-it-all kind of character, and she's not in it as much. So I'm wondering if when PJ Souls auditioned, they just really liked her and they decided to expand the role, because in the book she and Chris aren't like best friends like they are in the movie. But it does go a lot more into Chris and Billy's relationship as well. It's just, I don't know, I think after reading it, I do prefer the movie.
Yeah.
I think. Although the book does get interesting because it's like Carrie is exploring the powers and she is practicing the powers like weeks leading up to the prom, and even the night where she's waiting for Tommy to show up and her mom is freaking out like he's not going to show up, and then she's even thinking what if he doesn't, so she's practicing like picking up objects in the house, and she's starting to imagine like blowing out the windows or like that kind of thing.
Right.
So her powers are getting stronger, but the book does kind of go into how she's honing her powers and perfecting them more,
which makes a little more sense when it comes to the what ends up happening. Mm-hmm. It's not just a spontaneous thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a muscle she's been flexing.
Yeah, like where it's weird for me because you see Carrie White show up on a lot of like villain lists for movies and stuff. It's still
she's not the villain.
Hard for me. Like, yeah, she does this terrible thing, but she was totally like innocent too. Like, she didn't deserve
Carrie.
All of that.
If anything, Carrie White is surrounded by villains in the movie. Mm-hmm. So, if anything, she's the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
You have let's go down the characters.
Mm-hmm.
One at a time, just kind of talk about one at a time.
Okay.
So, we've covered Carrie White pretty significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about Margaret White.
Who, in the book, I did not think she was as scary. She's just more of like a religious fanatic, but she is definitely elevated in the movie by Piper Laurie, because I think that is one of the freakiest performances ever.
I would absolutely agree.
That final scene where she's chasing Carrie with a knife and she has that wicked smile, the imagery of that like has haunted me at night, because that's just such a freaky image. And Piper Laurie she's done a lot of freaky work in her career. So, like, she's worked with Argento, and she was in The Faculty. She was one of the teachers.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember that. I mean, I love The Faculty. I'm just trying to remember that.
But yeah, she's just, I don't know. She's freaky to me. And I guess when they made the movie, she thought of it as more of a comedy. And that's why she kind of is a little more...
If that's Piper Laurie in a comedy, I don't want to see her in a horror movie.
A little more, like, over the top, but it totally works for this. But I just think she's really freaky. And her and Sissy Spacek were both nominated for Oscars for this. This is, like, one of the rare horror movies that has been recognized
by the
Academy.
So some of the things that some of the stamps, the thumbprints that I think De Palma put on that character is at the end, that scene you're talking about at the end when she gets back to the house, and when we finally see Margaret White, she's in this white gown. It looks like a nightgown, but it's way too dressed to actually be one. So it almost seems like something ceremonial. Like she was planning what was going to happen before that night anyway. And then the way he chose to have the walls knocked down to the subwood really gives this really, like, lined contrast around her, while, like, as she, you know, when Carrie walks out of the bathroom and then there's that wood walling behind her and it's just super dark. I feel like that was a choice by De Palma to give that contrast. Like it's this really cool, like, it almost messes with your eyes, the way your eyes try to find focus even though the camera's perfectly in focus, unlike ours.
Yeah, and in the book too, the death of Margaret isn't, like, brutal like it is in the movie. It's just, she kind of just makes her heart die and that's it. But in the movie, it's, with the violence of it, it's very different.
So how does she die in the book?
It just kind of explains, like, she's peering into her mom's heart and, like, kind of just making it shrivel up.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, yeah. So
pulls like a telekinesis on her heart. It's not as dramatic. I think it would be hard to show that in a way that audiences could connect with, at least in the 70s.
Well, in the movie, it makes sense too, because she kind of crucifies her.
And it's one of the things that I wanted to talk about maybe a little later, but we can get to it now. She crucifies her mom in the same pose that because early in the film, her personal crucifix breaks. It gets a crack in it, and one of the arms kind of tilts. And then at the end of the film, her mom is crucified in the doorway in the same way her crucifix in her little closet is broken. And I thought it was a really cool, like, through line that faith, the faith in that house was never really Christianity. The faith in that house, as much as it was talked about being in the name of Jesus, was never quite right. And it's just, I mean, that's the mark of a filmmaker knowing exactly what he's doing, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It's super cool. Next on the list is the Sue Snell character. Who's Amy Irving, by the way? Let's see a picture of this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was in a lot of stuff. She was actually in a movie after this where it, what was that? It was called, like, The Fury, where it's kind of like she has these powers. It's her and like a boy. I don't know if they're brother and sister, but
we'll have to try to find that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a stay tuned, apparently. We'll get back around to that.
But,
okay, so, next. My personal favorite member of this cast, and just, like... this is great. William Katt. He's right there. Playing Tommy Ross. Which the Tommy Ross character is a really good character in the movie.
He is in the book, too.
He's a genuinely nice kid who gets lumped in with the bad kids just because of how he looks and the fact that he's an athlete and he's successful and he's good looking. So the Carrie character kind of subconsciously puts him in with the other kids in the beginning, even though he's not. And I think that one of the cool things the film does is you do that also in the beginning of the movie. You also put him in the same group as the not nice kids, as the bullies, even though you really have no reason to.
Yeah, because there's like the scene when they first pull up to the prom and he's telling her, oh, they're actually a really good lot. Like, they're a good group of people. So he does try to see the good in everybody.
Yeah.
And basically, he's pretty much the same in the book, too, but very intelligent. Because I'm trying to remember in the movie, I think... that poem that he writes, they imply that he didn't actually write it in the movie, but in the book he has had work like published.
In the movie they imply he wrote that for his girlfriend. Like, he wrote it for his girlfriend and she said give that. She kind of asks him to give that to Carrie.
What? I don't remember that. The poem?
Yeah.
No, the poem, it's a scene in the school where the teacher is reading it out loud. That's the scene you were talking about, where, because she loves the poem and everyone's kind of laughing in class.
And that is one of the earlier when I was talking about that split diopter that he uses, where you can see Tommy in the foreground and her in the background, and it gives this really cool... how do I get that on camera? Anyway... this really cool, like, feeling of separation, even though you're seeing it in two dimensions. It's one of the things that De Palma was just a genius at. All right. Also, William Katt, known for just the most fantastic hair ever in this movie. This hair, listen, it curls 100 times before it hits the end of a strand, and it is platinum.
We were watching it earlier, and you said something like it looked like it was gonna just fly away on its own.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna fly away without him. It's William Katt, also known for in the 80s, just shortly after this, being in one season of a television show. There's a television show that only lasted one season, yet is remembered to this day. Tara, what's that show?
The Greatest American Hero?
Yeah, it is. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
one of the best theme songs. For everyone
else, but you'll never sing for me.
I was just singing for you.
And mostly for everyone else.
There's only one other person watching.
If I had asked you, oh, will you sing that for me?
Didn't I sing it last night?
No.
I sang it last night.
You told me that you would be singing it tonight.
Yeah, but I did.
I don't know. But he was... There is another horror movie in the 80s called House that...
Oh, yes. He's also the star of the first two House movies.
I don't remember the sequel.
Well, I got the good old IMDb Tribune right here. Whoa, they don't even have a filmography on here for him. Yes, the first two.
Okay. Does he still act?
No, he is currently retired. Next, one step down. Not going to take that much time on it. The Billy Nolan character, as played by current person who acts John Travolta.
Yeah, this was his first movie, I believe.
This was his debut film of John Travolta.
Yeah.
Should have done something about that.
What are you talking about?
Listen, he had a good run for a while. And then he systematically flushed that down a toilet. I don't know if anybody's seen John Travolta's most recent films. But we watched, not his last film, the second to last film he's made, directed by Fred Durst. It's called The Fanatic. And it's one of the most insane, nonsensical things I've ever seen in my life. I kid you not, the opening line to this film is, "Can't talk now, can't talk long, gotta poop." That's the first thing you hear this guy say.
He gave that role a lot. He
gave that role a very offensive neurodivergence.
He was very committed to it.
This awful haircut and just these insane line deliveries. There's a scene in this film where he's staring into a mirror going, "Poppycock, poppycock," and it goes on for a while. I
guess Limp Bizkit released a new album today called Limp Bizkit Still Sucks.
At least they're self-aware. I actually, just because you said that, I'm going to listen to it just for the sake of seeing what's going on. Gotta stay in touch.
I don't understand why people are just suddenly nostalgic for them, but whatever.
Well, I'm not nostalgic for them. I just want to... Is it... How bad is... you can't really say something's really bad. You can't really have a criticism of something if you've never experienced it. So I'd like to at least listen to it and grit my teeth so I have something to say. You know what I mean? Their later work was way more... Their later work as a band before, the craziness was actually not that bad. Songs like Boiler Room, some of the work on Chocolate Starfish, not awful because it sounded like almost progressive rock, especially the stuff that Wes himself really directed and when Wes took the direction of the band over, it was really different. But then they started making trash.
Oh, I'm one of the people that thought it was trash the entire time, but
the early stuff when Fred was in charge and it was almost like rappy, new metal-y stuff, that wasn't great. And then around the end of recording Chocolate Starfish into the album after, and I can't remember what it was called, but there was a song called Boiler Room that's not what you would think is... If I played it for you, you would... The only reason you'd know it was Limp Bizkit is because Fred has a recognizable voice, but he's actually singing. He actually sounds good. It's very musically driven. It's different. And I think that's something a lot of people forget about. I just defended Limp Bizkit. Don't come after me. Next! Chris Hardinson, as played by the Nancy Allen.
Yeah. She, at this time...
That's Piper Laurie.
There's Nancy Allen. A lot of people would probably recognize her from RoboCop.
Oh, she was the partner, right?
She was Anne. What's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in a lot. Was it Invaders from Mars?
I'm sorry?
And then she was in a lot of De Palma work because I think they were just dating at the time Carrie was made, but then they were eventually married. And
wait, how much of an age difference is there between Nancy Allen and Brian De Palma?
I'm not sure.
Because Brian De Palma looked like that when they were shooting Carrie, and Nancy Allen looked like she was actually 17.
I don't know, but she was in his other movies like Dressed to Kill.
She wasn't Dressed to Kill.
Blowout.
Is she the main character in Blowout? Is she the main girl?
She's Sally.
Huh. You know, we watched that once. I think I would have to watch it again just to kind of
It's on tonight at midnight on TCM.
We will tell you what's on TCM. If you ever watch our show, we'll tell you what's on TCM.
No, actually, I think it's on right now.
Is it?
Because Psycho
it's probably just ending
is
here.
done now, so yeah. Blowout is probably my... she reunited with De Palma and John Travolta. It's probably my favorite John Travolta performance.
You know, I think I'd have to go over the filmography and think about that because there was a time where he made really, really good movies for a long time, and
it's also got a really freaky John Lithgow in it.
Oh, okay. So that's another thing about De Palma movies. He really liked freaky John Lithgow.
10 years between De Palma and Allen.
I guess that's not that bad.
Yeah,
that's not that bad. All right, I thought there was more than that. It's fine. It's just De Palma. He was.
Oh, and then let's talk about Sissy Spacek for
Sissy Spacek herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everyone knows who she is, but she was nominated for an Academy Award for this. But Brian De Palma's first movie was a movie called Phantom of the Paradise, and her husband Jack Fisk was the set designer on Phantom of the Paradise, and she was dating Jack Fisk at that time.
If you're watching and wondering who this is right here, that is the Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh yeah,
right there. He's right there.
I drew that.
She drew that. That's one of my favorite drawings of hers.
Different pieces of art I made from that movie because I love it. It actually inspired Daft Punk. And their whole design too.
This mask and the sound of the film, because it's one of the first movies to ever use synthesized music as a through point.
And that entire movie, because it stars Paul Williams, and he wrote all the music. And on Daft Punk's Random Access Memories album, they worked with Paul Williams.
Touch.
He actually sings on the song Touch.
I love that song so much.
I remember being so excited because when they won the Grammy and Paul Williams was there on stage with them, and it was this whole... I remember at that time seeing a little documentary about them, and they were talking about Phantom of the Paradise and just how big of an effect it had on them and their entire look, and the fact that they were able to work with Paul Williams was just so cool. But yeah, circling back, Sissy Spacek initially knew of De Palma because she was working with her boyfriend as a set designer, and she called herself the worst, I think, prop designer ever. She was surprised she didn't get fired, but she initially worked behind the scenes on Phantom of the Paradise, and then...
Let's not assume everybody knows who Sissy Spacek is, because you started that with everybody knows who Sissy Spacek is.
Well,
but we're also supposed to be an educational show. So we have to start...
because she went on, she did eventually win an Academy Award. She played Loretta Lynn in The Coal Miner's Daughter. She does a lot more, you can tell she's having more fun at this stage in her career, because she was in Hot Rod. She was Andy Samberg's mom in Hot Rod.
Most famously, even more than her Oscar-winning performance, is probably Rosemary's Baby.
That was Mia Farrow.
That was Mia Farrow. I just fucked that up.
Wow.
That's going on the clip show.
Wow.
Don't judge me.
And that was an entire decade before her.
What?
Rosemary's Baby was 70, right? I remember it was I think it was after I think it was the first thing he made after the Manson murders. Or no, wait, maybe it was already done and
no.
I don't remember, but yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I fucked up. I don't know why. If you're new to the show, that happens a lot.
It does.
I know what I'm talking about. It's just stuff comes out of my mouth before I think about it too much. And I probably should. So, Just wait for Christmas, because that's going in the clip show.
Yeah.
PJ Souls as Norma. The Norma character is not a huge deal in the film, but PJ Souls wearing a hat.
Yeah, and
I have a whole joke.
The role was made bigger than it was in the book. Like, she's a totally different character in the movie than in the book.
I have a running joke that about 50% of PJ Souls' movies, she's exclusively wearing a hat.
And, PJ Souls, so she was probably, like, a big it girl at the time. She made Rock and Roll High School with the Ramones. She was Riff Randall. She was in John Carpenter's Halloween. She was Linda. She was in Stripes. She was married to Dennis Quaid.
Oh. That's
because at that time he was like an up and coming actor. Like, she was more famous than he was.
That's
but
crazy.
They were married, which is still, it's kind of weird to think about. But
I mean, they're an attractive couple. I mean, that's an attractive couple.
Yeah, but yeah, she was really popular during that period. But I think she showed up for the audition wearing the hat, and De Palma really liked it, so she just.
PJ Souls wearing a hat.
Kept it on
the whole time. Okay, here's the. Oh, it's
like
my
even
only.
At the prom.
It's my only thing about this. It's the only time watching this movie where I'm like,
wearing
yes,
at the prom?
She's wearing a red baseball cap and a prom dress. It's the only thing in this movie where I'm like, why?
I don't think she wears it the whole time at the prom, but.
We just watched it like 5 minutes ago. All right, we're gonna skip down a couple because some of these.
Who is in this movie? That's she plays Helen. Is Edie
McClurg. I was okay. You beat me to it, and we think you're reading my mind.
The last time we watched this, I was like, that girl looks so familiar, and I didn't.
She's a very young Edie McClurg. It's
hard for me to imagine a young Edie
because later on she always played a Karen.
She was always in like comedies. Like she's
always
Eating Raoul. She was in
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Ferris Bueller. She's the principal's secretary.
She's the one. Thank you for calling. Please hold. Thank you for calling. Please hold. That's Edie McClurg.
Which, if you, it's been known. I see stories of this. If you spot her on the street and you say, please hold, she'll say the next line to you.
Yep. She's one of those character actors that pops up and she's always good. Like, she's always exactly what she's supposed to be.
Yeah, that is wild seeing her in this. Imagine, like...
Because she's young, and you never imagine her...
in a scary movie. Like...
Yeah. She's generally thought of as a comedic actress. She's generally thought of as these kind of like scene-eating characters, and in this, she's kind of just one of the bullies.
Yeah,
she's not really a named character. And there's a Dyson sighting. Hello, everybody. Okay, you're gonna tell him.
Which, if I remember correctly, in the book, Helen is more of a friend of Sue's, whereas in the movie, yeah, she's more like friendly with Norma.
She's just one of the bullies. Yeah. She's the random bully. And final casting moment I want to point out: boy on bicycle, Cameron De Palma.
Was there a relation there? Or?
I'd imagine, but there's no link to who the hell Cameron De Palma is. I am assuming maybe a brother. He's too young to have a son that age.
I don't know. How old was he when they made this?
De Palma? This is 76? I have no idea.
Did we ever mention... We've been mentioning the book, but have we talked about Stephen King?
We haven't talked about Stephen...
mentioned that it was... It's weird reading this book, too, because
he was 36.
Yeah.
He was 36 when Carrie was made. He was born in 1940.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's weird when you hear of directors making movies and you're like, they were younger than I was. Like, hearing of how young John Landis was when he wrote An American Werewolf in London. He was like 19.
Yeah, he was a kid.
When he wrote that. In early 20s when he directed it. Steven Spielberg was like early 20s when he made Jaws.
Rick Moranis and Harold Ramis were in their early 20s when they were writing when they were first writing like all the films we know them for. Well, yeah, Rick Moranis was in his mid-20s when he was rewriting the Little Shop of Horrors thing. Like he had that project going in his 20s.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like going back, it's kind of weird reading Carrie because I've read so much Stephen King, but going back because that was like his first novel. He wanted to throw it away, but his wife encouraged him to keep going, and it doesn't quite have like his writing style.
Are you going where I think you're going?
Where am I going?
Wasn't quite clickety clacking yet. Not quite alone in a room for 3 days, if you know what I'm talking about. But cocaine. Yeah, he wasn't doing as much cocaine.
Yeah, like it is kind of weird just reading it, and it doesn't, like, you can tell it's there, but it's not quite like
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way you say it, it's more written. What we see of the movie, the book is written in past tense. So they're talking about what we see. They're talking about what we see in the movie in past tense.
Yeah. And then a lot of the like little segments in the book are like scholarly kind of writings about the events that happened in this town, or like news reports that happened on it. So
that's...
And it was a very quick read. I think in between like working and stuff, I read the whole thing in a week, where I can still remember reading it, and I think it took me forever to read that book because at the same time I didn't want it to end. Like, I didn't want to be finished reading it, and it was just so big and epic. But Carrie's it's a pretty quick read. So
so that's our retrospective on Carrie. Any movie news you want to talk about? Anything you've seen that you want to talk about?
What have we been
I'm
watching?
I'm looking forward to seeing Antlers. I think next weekend I think we're gonna go see Antlers in theaters.
We saw Halloween Kills. Was that last weekend or
2 weeks ago? I think that was 2 weeks ago we saw Halloween Kills. Which it's fun and it's a better movie than past iterations. It's a well-made movie, but there are some problems.
Yeah. But I think it did make me appreciate the 2018 one more. Like, I remember not being big on that one when it came out, but at that time, too, we didn't know if there was another one that was going to be made.
Right.
And now seeing this one, a lot of the, like, because I didn't care about a lot of the teen stuff in that movie, like the stuff going on with the daughter, but it makes sense now with things that happened in Halloween Kills. Like, I think I can go back and watch that one and have more appreciation.
In 2018, it seemed like there were storylines or B plots that they left hanging. Like, what happened to any of that?
I was like, why do we need this? Like, can't we just focus on Laurie? But it does make sense because those characters come back
and are significant.
Second one, and so at that time, though, I don't think anyone knew that they were gonna be making these two back-to-back movies. So we didn't. I was like, this...
well, three. They've made all three movies back to back. Yeah.
So at the time, I was like, this script is kind of messy. Like, I don't know why we need these characters. Like, I don't care about this girl and her boyfriend. But now it...
What's the name of this director?
David Gordon Green.
David Gordon Green.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like we've seen something else from him that we did like.
Oh, like, I think I've liked early stuff that he did. I think he is remaking The Exorcist now. That's the latest thing I've heard.
That's
or he's,
scary.
Like, making a series because Jamie Lee Curtis wants to be the voice of the devil.
The devil's not in The Exorcist.
That's what I've read. She wants to be the voice of it, so...
All right, horror fans. If you think you're a horror fan and you tell me the devil's in The Exorcist, shut up, because he's not. There's specifically a demon named Pazuzu, who is a through line of, well, the first 2 Exorcist movies. And that because 3 is Blatty's own thing, and it has nothing to do with the original story. So, or the other one. All right, filmography of David Gordon Green. The 3 current Halloween movies. Pineapple Express. Oh, he's done a lot of work with, like, Franco and McBride. Joe. Nicolas Cage's Joe. The George Washington biopic. The Sitter, which isn't great, but it's fun.
So he's done mostly comedies. George Washington was more of like a serious...
Yeah, it was like a biopic.
Kind of movie.
All the Real Girls.
Oh, I remember that. I think that was Zoe Deschanel's big
Dramatic
breakout role.
Goat. Compliance. He directed Warrior with Tom Hardy and
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, I didn't either until right now. Fat Man, which looks like a Santa Claus horror movie. Flower. That movie, that Netflix movie, An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, that's him. The one with Ferguson and that guy that looks a lot like
Oh.
Yeah, that guy that looks like Jermaine Clement. So yeah, David Gordon Green, mostly comedies.
And I do believe he's a fan of the genre. The only thing is, it's the Blumhouse company,
we have. I'm not gonna say we got beef with Bloom because he's made some good stuff. The Invisible Man was really good, but I think that was more Blum handing Lee Winnell as much money as he wanted and saying have fun. And when you let Lee Winnell, if you give Lee Winnell the creative freedom to do what he wants to do, he'll hand you a good movie. It might not be a fantastic, oh my god, that's amazing movie, but it's going to be really good. And I feel like that Invisible Man, it has like 2 little spots that are like, eh. But other than that, the rest of the movie's excellent. But then he gives money to other places like Fantasy Island. Dumb. Apparently that movie is just a fever dream. Like, it makes no sense. We saw Halloween Kills. I'm excited to see Antlers because it's based on the folklore of American indigenous people.
Is this a Guillermo
del
Toro
movie? Art direction is by Guillermo del Toro. It stars Carrie Russell and some little dead-eyed kid. Anytime young.
Oh, don't forget Upgrade. Which,
what about because that was a Blumhouse. I didn't even well, that's Lee Winnell. That's again, you hand Lee Winnell money. Like, that's the same thing. You hand Lee Winnell money, he gives you a movie like Upgrade. That's going to be a fantastic movie that hardly anybody watches for some reason. The Invisible Man got some recognition. It wasn't the hit it should have been. Upgrade got nothing.
I feel like it was pretty popular.
Pretty popular. It should have been more.
Remember we were watching like the Shudder Awards, and I think it won.
It won a bunch of Chainsaw Awards, yeah.
Everything.
Upgrade came out at a bad time because it visually is close to what they were doing with Venom. That was coming out at the exact same time. And
you've got the actor that...
And you got the two actors
yeah.
that visually look very similar. So I think it caught a bad rap of, oh, they're just ripping off Venom. But Upgrade is actually the better movie. You know what Upgrade doesn't have? Shit-eating CGI.
Yeah.
The CGI in Venom is awful. The stories... They ruin a couple of characters right off the bat. And Upgrade, it makes sense all the way through. The motivations are clear. The special effects are just top class. There's these really cool prosthetics of like biomechanical stuff moving underneath people's skin in that movie. And it's almost like Cronenberg-y. It gets a little Cronenberg-y. And I think they did a great job of that. Oh, we can turn off Carrie. We can turn off the Carrie people now. We're not talking about Carrie people anymore. Boop. I gotta make a slideshow for It Follows next week. Or this week. What else? Any other movie news? Oh, I want to see The Green Knight.
Is that out
It's
yet?
out. I think it might be in theaters. I want to see.
I feel like it's been out for a while.
Is it? We'll have to look.
I don't know.
Dune. We have to watch 7 hours of Dune apparently because Tara has neither seen the original nor the new one. I haven't seen the new one. The original I feel like is probably one of my favorite Lynch films. I say that, and then she brings up other Lynch movies that I do like, because there's a lot of Lynch work that just gets stuck in my head is insane. Because every time I say something like that, you're like, but what about the Elephant Man? And I'm like, yeah, I love the Elephant Man, but that's because it makes sense.
Oh, what else is there?
Take a fire walk off a short pier.
Oh, Ghostbusters is coming out soon.
Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the family in Livonia, Michigan, who made the Ghostbusters display. They had a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on top of their house, and they had lights going from their little Ghostbuster blasters up to the Marshmallow Man. Mm-hmm. They were awesome. Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen those pictures, I don't know if there's a video.
I think there's video.
If there's a video, find it. Shout out to them because they're great.
Yeah.
Our follower goal. Say this before we end the episode. Our follower goal down here. Once we hit 50, hopefully we can hit 50 in the next 28 days. We got 4 episodes left. But if once we do that, we're going to start. Subscribers get entered into a drawing for a random significant standard def DVD of our choice sent to a subscriber a month. Mm-hmm. So if you're a subscriber, after the follower goal goes up, we're going to package a random DVD that we think is culturally significant, and we're going to mail it to you. And we want your opinion on the film, and it'll be read on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's episode 1 of season 2 of Themes to Be Seen. Did somebody say something? No?
No.
Okay. Episode 1, season 2, and we hope to see you next week for the beginning of our analysis of It Follows that we have to do this week because we've been putting that off. That's a good, what do you think? 12 hours of research?
Yeah. And then tomorrow morning before work, I'm hitting the sales at Spirit Halloween. So I'll see what's left there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Need to go to sleep soon.
I need to go to sleep like an hour ago, but you know. Okay, so there's all that. Hope to see you next week. Tomorrow night, catch the Matty Ice and Marky Mark podcast. Wherever you catch your streams. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. They're on at 10 o'clock. Sometimes 10:30.
Yeah.
Wait, are they? No, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock this week because they have their brand new studio starting tomorrow. So check them out. And thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Here, save it. And then stop it.